Hey, how are you? This is our cooperative project, and the purpose of this project is to analyze the function f of x equals x squared plus 4x minus 5 divided by x cubed minus x. I'll be analyzing it in the two ways of finding the domain and also simplifying this. So the first thing we're going to do is find the domain. Now, in rational functions, according to the textbook, when we're finding the domain, all we got to look at is the denominator. So, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to factor this x cubed minus x. That can be factored with an x outside a parentheses. And inside the parentheses is going to be x squared minus 1. And if we solve for 0, then the zeros equal plus minus negative 1, plus minus 1. That means the domain equals all real numbers except plus and minus 1. And that's it. Now, for the second part of the analysis, we are going to simplify. Essentially, we can do this first by factoring both the top and the bottom. And if we factor the top first, we get this number. And then if we factor the bottom, we get this number. And yet the denominator can be factored one more time. To be and here we have two components that are exactly the same, so those two cancel out. And we're left with this number. X plus 5 divided by x times x plus 1. And there is our simplification. And then we can return this to the non-factored form if we want, to x plus 5 divided by x squared plus x. And there's our simplification.
Yeah. Okay, so in this problem we're trying to find the x. So we have to factor the top first. 2 x's. We have a positive and we have a negative, which becomes a positive. Okay, and change the signs again. And this one eventually
Alright, on this analyzing the rational equation, we're going to figure out the vertical and horizontal isotopes. For the vertical we're starting with the denominator x cubed times minus x. We have to set all that to 0 first for the vertical. And then you figure out x. X would be, obviously x can't be 0. X could be 0 because x to the cube is 0 minus 0 is obviously 0. Oopsie. Alright, 0, 0 equals 0. That's obviously 1. Next one would be negative 1. Negative 1 cubed. So it would be negative 1 times negative 1 would be positive 1. So that's first. So 1 times negative 1 again would be negative 1. Sorry. Negative 1. So a negative 1 minus 0. Oh, shit. I fucked up that one. Sorry, guys. Erase that one. So then negative 1 cubed minus negative 1 would equal to 0. Negative 1 times negative 1 would equal to 1 minus negative 1. That becomes a positive, which equals to 0. Which meaning our vertical isotopes are x equals 1. I'm sorry, x equals negative 1 and x equals 0. Now for our vertical isotopes, all we have to look at is the leading coefficient, I believe? No, not leading coefficient, exponent, sorry. Exponent. Since 3 is larger than 2, the numerators is x squared, the denominator is x cubed. Since the denominator is bigger than the numerator, y is always going to equal 0. So for our horizontal isotope, y equals 0. Okay. On that one. I think.
You're done?
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem is asking for the oblique asymptote. And since we have right here a higher power than this, we can't divide. So for the oblique asymptote, there is no oblique asymptote in this problem. And for the graphing, this way. Then again, there is no slant for this problem.